You're 50 years old or close to it. You've been working for nearly 3 decades. Your career is whatever it's going to be at this point. And a question sits in the back of your mind that nobody talks about, honestly. How much does the average 50-year-old actually have coming in from side income? Not the people in the success stories. The actual average person your age. You scroll past videos of 25-year-olds claiming they make $30,000 a month online. You don't relate to them. You don't believe them. And you definitely don't have a real number to measure yourself against. So you sit with a vague sense that maybe you should have built something on the side by now. And maybe a quieter fear that 50 might be too late to start. That fear is the real reason most people your age never start. Not lack of ability, not lack of opportunity, just a quiet assumption that the window already closed. It didn't, and I'll show you why. Today, we deal with both. Using real 2025 and early 2026 data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, Bankrate, LendingTree, and the Federal Reserve. The numbers for 50-year-olds are genuinely different from the numbers for younger people. In some ways, more sobering. In some ways, more encouraging than you'd expect. My name is Nick, and I spend way too much time thinking about money, side income psychology, and why the conversation about earning outside your job almost always ignores people over 45. If you've ever wondered whether 50 is too late to build side income or where you actually stand compared to your peers, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if it ends up giving you some honest perspective on where you really are. Let's start with the uncomfortable headline number. Among generations, boomers and older Gen X earn the least from side hustles. Bankrate's 2025 data shows boomers average around $561 per month from side hustles. That's the lowest of any generation. Gen X, which includes most 50-year-olds, averages around $751. Compare that to millennials at $1,129 and Gen Z at $958. The older you are, the lower the average side income, at least on the surface. So if you're 50 and feel behind on side income, the data confirms your generation does earn less from it than younger people. But that surface number hides something important, and we'll get to it. Here's the first clue that the surface number is misleading. The gap between generations isn't about ability. A 50-year-old isn't less capable of earning than a 30-year-old. If anything, they're more capable. The gap is about how many people participate and what they choose to do. Those are completely different things from what someone could earn if they decided to. Keep that distinction in mind as we go through the numbers. First, the participation rate. Older Americans are less likely to have a side hustle at all. While roughly a third of younger adults report side income, the share drops significantly among people over 50. Part of that is generational habit. 50-year-olds came up in an era where one stable job was the expectation, and side income wasn't a normalized part of adult life the way it is for younger people. When a 50-year-old entered the workforce in the 90s, the entire cultural model was different. You got a job, you stayed loyal, the company took care of you. Side income wasn't a survival strategy. It was like a sign something had gone wrong. That generational programming runs deep. It's not laziness. It's a worldview that was correct for the economy these people entered, even though it's outdated now. Part of it is that 50-year-olds are often at peak primary earnings. Their main job pays more than it ever has, which reduces the pressure to find side income. When your salary is the highest it's ever been, the urgency to build something extra naturally fades. The pressure that drives younger people to hustle just isn't there in the same way. But here's the trap in that logic. Peak earnings at 50 often coincide with peak vulnerability. You're expensive to employ, which makes you a target during cost cutting. And you're at an age where reemployment is harder. So the exact moment a 50-year-old feels least pressure to build side income is often the moment they need the insurance most. That's, one of the cruel ironies of how this plays out. And part of it is energy and time. 50-year-olds often have peak family obligations, aging parents, and the accumulated fatigue of decades of work. The bandwidth for a side hustle is genuinely lower. The sandwich generation problem is real. Many 50-year-olds are simultaneously supporting kids in college and parents in decline. The time and emotional bandwidth left over is, minimal. So the lower numbers aren't a character flaw. They're the predictable result of life stage. That's important to sit with before we go further. Now, The Bureau of Labor Statistics tells a slightly different story. They track multiple job holders, meaning people working 2 or more actual jobs. In November 2025, BLS recorded 9.3 million Americans with multiple jobs, the highest number ever recorded since they started tracking it in 5.7% of the workforce. The multiple job holder rate is actually fairly steady across the prime working years, including people in their early 50s. It only drops sharply as people approach traditional retirement age. So a 50-year-old is not statistically too old to be working a second income source. Plenty of people their age do. The numbers support it. In fact, the fastest growing segment of multiple job holders in recent years has included workers over 50. The image of the side hustler as a broke 20-something is, increasingly outdated. Older workers are quietly entering the side income economy in larger numbers than ever, driven partly by retirement insecurity and partly by the realization that one paycheck is fragile at any age. And many of them are doing it well, precisely because they bring decades of skill to the table. The narrative that side income is a young person's game is, frankly, just wrong. Here's the part that reframes everything, though. The average side income number for older Americans is lower. But the reason is mostly about participation and vehicle choice, not capability. When an older American does build a serious side business, they often outearn younger people doing the same thing, because they have something younger people don't. Decades of accumulated expertise, professional networks, and credibility. A 50-year-old with 30 years in an industry can consult at rates a 25-year-old simply cannot command. The 50-year-old's hourly value, when they choose to monetize it, is often dramatically higher. Think about what 30 years of experience actually represents. You've seen problems the younger person hasn't encountered yet. You've made mistakes they haven't made. You know which solutions work and which ones just sound good. That accumulated judgment is worth a premium. A company will pay a 50-year-old consultant $200 an hour for advice. They wouldn't pay a 25-year-old $50 an hour for the expertise is the product. So the low average is misleading. It reflects that fewer older people participate and that those who do often choose lower effort, lower return vehicles. It does not reflect a ceiling on what they could earn. If anything, the ceiling for an experienced 50-year-old is higher than for almost any younger person. They just have to choose to reach for it. That distinction is the whole video. Let me show you what it means in practice. Let's break the 50-year-old population into the real distribution, because the average hides everything. About 75% of 50-year-olds have no side income at all, higher than the rate for younger people. This is the largest group by far. This is worth pausing on. 3/4 of your peers have nothing coming in outside their job. So if you have nothing, you are not the exception. You are the rule. About 15% have a small side income, a few $100s a month from occasional work, a hobby that earns a little, or seasonal activity. About 7% have a meaningful side income of somewhere between $500 and $2,000 a month, often consulting, freelancing, or a small established business. And about 3% have a substantial side income, over $2,000 a month. These are usually people who turned decades of expertise into a real second business. That 3% is interesting, because when older people do build serious side income, they tend to build more of it than younger people do. The top end of the older distribution is genuinely impressive. A 50-year-old consultant billing their professional expertise can earn more per hour than almost any 25-year-old side hustler. The expertise premium is real, and it compounds with age. So the average being low doesn't mean the ceiling is low. It means most older people aren't participating, and the ones who do often pick low-intensity options. Now let's talk about the fear underneath this whole topic. Is 50 too late to start building side income? The honest answer is no, and the data actually supports an optimistic case. Here's why. A 50-year-old has roughly 15 to 20 years of working life left, even by traditional retirement time, and increasingly, people work past 65 by choice or necessity. 15 to 20 years is more than enough time to build a meaningful side income stream. It's more than enough time for that stream to compound into something significant. To put that in perspective, 15 years is longer than most successful businesses have existed. It's longer than the entire careers of many people. The idea that it's not enough runway is just, wrong. More importantly, A 50-year-old starts with advantages. A 25-year-old doesn't have deep expertise, established networks, professional credibility, capital to invest, communication skills honed over decades. The 25-year-old has time and energy. The 50-year-old has expertise and credibility. Both are valuable. They're just different starting advantages. And in many fields, expertise and credibility convert to income faster than time and energy do. A credible expert can charge premium rates immediately. A young hustler has to grind for years to build the same trust. But here's the part most people completely miss. And it might be the most important point in this entire video. For a 50-year-old, side income isn't primarily about getting rich. It's about three things that matter more at this stage of life than they did at 25. The first is retirement security. The median 50-something American has, according to the Federal Reserve, far less saved for retirement than they'll actually need, often well under $300,000. The Federal Reserve Survey of Consumer Finances shows the median retirement savings for households in their early 50s is genuinely alarming when you compare it to what's needed for a 30-year retirement. Most people are significantly short. A side income stream that generates even $1,000 a month is, in effect, like having an extra few $100,000 of retirement savings because it replaces withdrawal needs. Think about it this way. To safely withdraw $12,000 a year from a retirement account, you generally need around $300,000 saved using standard withdrawal guidelines. That's based on the commonly cited 4% rule, which suggests you can withdraw about 4% of your savings annually without running out. 12,000 divided by 4% equals 300,000. But a side income of $1,000 a month generates that same 12,000 a year without touching any principal. The side income is structurally worth as much as a massive boost to your retirement savings. And unlike a retirement account, the side income doesn't deplete. As long as you keep the stream running, it keeps producing. It's arguably more durable than the savings it replaces. That reframe alone changes how a 50-year-old should think about side income. It's not pocket money. It's retirement infrastructure. The second thing side income provides at 50 is age discrimination insurance. The uncomfortable reality is that older workers face real hiring challenges if they lose a job. A 55-year-old who gets laid off often struggles to find equivalent work. The job search takes longer. The offers come in lower. Age discrimination, while illegal, is real and hard to prove. The data on this is grim. Older workers who lose jobs stay unemployed longer than younger workers, and when they do find new work, it's frequently at a significant pay cut. The corporate world quietly discounts experience past a certain age. A side income stream is protection against this. If the primary job disappears, the side income provides a bridge and a foundation to build from. It transforms a potential catastrophe into a manageable transition. And here's the thing. The skills you build running a side business, finding customers, pricing your work, delivering value directly are exactly the skills that make you independent of the corporate hiring system entirely. You stop needing their permission to earn. The third thing side income provides is identity continuity into retirement. Many people struggle with the identity loss of retirement. Work provided purpose, structure, and social connection. A side business or income stream gives a retiring person something to scale down into rather than a cliff to fall off. It's a gentler glide path into the next phase of life. The research on retirement satisfaction consistently shows that people who maintain some form of meaningful, productive activity report higher well-being than those who fully stop. A side income stream provides exactly that, plus money. So for a 50-year-old, side income isn't about chasing the millennial average. It's about retirement security, job loss insurance, and a smoother transition into later life. Those goals don't require a huge side income. A modest, steady stream accomplishes all three. The dollar amount matters less than the existence of the stream. Look, here's the honest truth about being 50 and side income. Most of your peers have none. The average is low. The participation rate is the lowest of any working age group. But you have advantages. Younger people would kill 4. Expertise, networks, credibility, capital, and enough working years left to make it matter. You're not behind for not having built this yet. You're normal. Most 50-year-olds never do. The system never encouraged your generation to... The whole model you grew up with said one job was enough. That model just turned out to be wrong. But you're also not too late. The 50-year-old who starts a modest consulting practice today can have a real second income within a year and a retirement-changing stream within 5 years from now. You will be 55 regardless. The only question is whether 55-year-old you has a second income stream or doesn't. That's the actual choice. Not whether you're too old. You're not. Just whether you start. The math doesn't care that you're 50. The math only cares whether you start and whether you stick with it. And the math at 50 actually works in your favor in one specific way. You likely have more capital to invest in getting started than you did at 25. You can buy tools, hire help, or absorb a slow first few months, in a way a younger person can't. Your future self, the one who's 70 and either has a side income stream or doesn't, is counting on the decision you make this year. The 70-year-old with a side income stream has options. The 70-year-old without one has only whatever they manage to save. Those are very different retirements. Trust me, they'll thank you for starting at 50 instead of deciding it was too late.